Hey guys, Kev here, and I want to do a full review on the Hoback Knives Quayback Button Lock. I've had this for a couple weeks, I think now. I've carried it quite a bit. I think I've carried it for about a week total, and I've enjoyed the knife. I think it's a really cool piece. It's definitely different. It's unique. It has some drawbacks that we'll get into, and I know some of you guys have your qualms with Hoback, and that's just the way it's going to be, I think. So I checked that at the door. That whole thing is what it is, and honestly, shit happens, and people make mistakes and whatnot, and I think it's how they rebound that counts, and I think they've made the adjustments necessary. And at this point, it's just up to the consumer whether you want to buy their stuff or not, and that's 100% your choice. So I just don't think we need to keep harping on the sort of drama from a year. Now it's been a while, maybe 2 years, I don't know. So I really like the model. This is the Quayback Button Lock. It's a big knife. You're looking at a big one. I'm guessing it's close to 8.5 inches. Let's see. I'll grab the Evo 2. You can see this is a 3.5-inch blade, 8-inch overall knife, and we still have some room here and quite a bit of room back here. We can grab. I have a really cool one in right now. This is the Cleric 2 from Heretic. That is a big boy knife, 4-inch blade on that sucker. And we are in the same ballpark. That's how big this guy is. I mean, if we put them frame to frame here, you get, maybe a little bit on the tip and a little bit on the handle. 1/4 inch tops on each end, so maybe 1/2 inch longer on this guy. Very, very smooth, awesome tactical action on that guy. But that gives you an idea of the size if you've seen those knives. This one comes in Mars Valley fat carbon and then titanium on this side. It also comes in a Arctic fat carbon. It comes in a sort of standard 3D weave carbon fiber. And then I saw they had a limited run of all tie ones. So you can check out their website for details. I will link what I can down below. I think Blade HQ has these, so if you want to pick one up, use the link down there to Blade HQ. That'll help the channel out. They are $480. That is the price point. That is going to be a sticking point for a lot of you. I totally understand that. Now, I will spend more on a knife if I want it, and so it doesn't bother me all that much, but I do think it's probably more like $380 knife, closer to $100 less. And I think the reason for the price point is, they've set up their business a certain way, and that's the way they were doing it for a long time. And I think they have to make this adjustment now that people know these are made in China and whatnot. They have to make the adjustment on price, and that means tweaking things for the business. You know what I mean? Like, they have the price they have to support the rest of the business, the employees, maybe insurance for employees, that kind of stuff. And so while we want to sit here and say, well, that's too much for that knife, that's fair if that's your assessment. But would you pay an extra $50 for a knife if it meant the employees at that place had insurance versus the employees at another shop that don't? I'm not saying they do, because I don't even know if they get insurance there. But I'm saying they have their overhead. They have their business mapped out. And this is what the knife has to cost for it to make sense for them. Does that make sense? Like, sure, they could price this at $380, but then they would probably come out negative on it, if that makes sense, once you calculate all the other things. So they need to make those adjustments on their end so that the prices can come down, because I think they should come down a little bit. based on what you're getting, right, where it's coming from compared to the competition. For example, if we're looking at fat carbon and titanium and a premium steel like 20CV, here is a Jack Wolf knife. This is titanium S90V belt satin made overseas, and this is a $300 price point. You have, here's a Vero Engineering Synapse Lefty, and these come in around $350 in a marbled carbon fiber, and you can get it in all sorts of configurations, but I think they top out around $380, something like that. Now with the, Timascus and everything, I was, well up there, but point being is $380 makes sense. It's a comparable, you know what I mean? And then it comes down to your OEM, and it comes down to your business. If you look at CKF, this build from CKF would cost $480. So those are made overseas as well. So you have to ask yourself, how much do you like the design? Because people don't complain too much when they pay $600 for this knife. I paid $630, or I paid $590, and then I traded for a carbon fiber one. This is a custom scale, but you get my point. The Evo 2 was $590 base, $630 for a carbon fiber, and $730 for a pimp version. And we didn't do too much complaining about the price, and we knew they were made in China. So how do you gauge that, right? I think that CKFs are overpriced. Now, they do have to account for the fact that they're, being made in China, sent to Russia, being, hand assembled or whatever there, finished there, and then sent to the States, then sold by a dealer, mostly. But same thing here. It gets sent to them. I'm pretty sure they hand assess each one. They probably tweak it. I don't know if they do any finishing or anything like that. And then, they go to dealers or sold direct, but they have to account for that dealer price, which the dealer takes 30%. So, you know what I mean? This knife really was $380 to the dealer, probably less. So anyway, I just want to kind of throw all that out there. I don't personally have an issue with the price. But I also did not spend my hard-earned money on this knife. It was sent to me for review. So take what I say with a grain of salt, if you like. So I think I've hit that hard enough and beaten it to death. So yeah. With that said, I appreciate Hoback for sending this my way. I really do. And as you guys just heard, I kind of just played both sides of that battle and came out where I just don't mind the price if that's what they have to charge for it to make sense for them. If you like the knife enough, you'll pay for it, Yeah, they're certainly going to lose some of those guys who are in between and are like, well, I'll take a shot on it because it's, $350 or whatever. It's not $500. You're going to lose some of those guys for sure. But I'm not sure if that's their market. So anyway, it's a big boy. It is a button lock version of their Quayback design, which I believe started as a folder, then, or maybe even a fixed blade. Then there's a fixed blade sort of this size, but I think skinnier. There's a folding flipper with a detent, with his Hoback rolling detent. There's the Quaichetti that I absolutely love, which is a bigger sword. I showed that in the unboxing. And now there is the button lock. And I think it's a cool design. I think overall, in the end, it's not like my style of knife. I'm not a big tactical guy. I'm not a big knife guy. I'm not a hard angles at the end of the handle guy. But I can respect design, and I think it's a unique and cool design. I love how it has that swoop along the whole of the blade, of the handle and blade, and then has this really cool taper down here with this jimping. There is a compound grind on here, so you have a flat back here and a flat up here, but you can see there is a hard angle right here, so I'm pretty sure anyway they grind this and that separately, which would make it a compound grind. Doesn't have to be a hollow and a flat, although that would be cool to see. We have a titanium button, I believe. Well, I guess we could check that. Hard to tell because there's going to be a spring under there. Yeah, but it looks like titanium to me. Obviously the plunge needs to be steel, I believe, so that it, you know, doesn't have stick or whatever. But yeah, either way, it looks cool. And then you have all the black hardware, so I like that it's a little pop of color there. The clip is reversible, so you have, I'll go ahead and flip it back for you guys so you can see, because I've been carrying this and I've enjoyed it, and I've enjoyed the fact that it has a reversible clip. Using my MBK bit driver here, shout out to Sanford Owen, sent me this to check out, test out a little bit. Really cool piece. I think once they add a little bit more grip to the barrel area, I think it's going to be fantastic. USA made bit driver. Just for my sweaty hands, I tend to slip on it. Trying to find the sweet spot. Where are you? Why is this so difficult? This should not be difficult at all. There we go. We do not know who the OEM is on this. Some people have suspected it to be We, because of the button lock and them being pretty good at button locks. I would tend to agree that they're good at button locks, and it does have some We-ish to it, but it could be anybody, honestly. Whoever it was did a good job. They did a good job. I think the show side definitely looks cleaner without the clip there. I know a lot of you guys would love to get rid of those screw holes, but yeah. And then I think this side looks good too with the clip on it, because it adds something over here. Where when I had the clip over here, this side just looks so plain because it's just this kind of cutout area and titanium versus this awesome carbon fiber side. Would have loved to have seen them do both sides in carbon. Yeah, the ergonomics they're good. It's a thick knife, but it's comfortable back here, and then you can choke up like this. And your fingers are nice and tight. You don't have a big gap, and it really is comfortable to hold. And you can hold it in sort of a pinch grip like this. You can use that secondary tip, although it's close to not being there. You can use that. So getting up here is a little bit awkward, but, you know, I don't think this is meant to be like a basic EDC knife. You know, I think it's got a tactical nature to it and just sort of a cool factor versus being like your super functional EDC knife that somebody would pick up, if that makes sense. I like the black finish on the blade. The only markings on this knife are the Hoback Psalm 23 right here, which is cool. The screws, the construction, these two screws go through the frame, backspacer, and into the, I guess you call it the lock side, but it's not really a lock. And then that looks cool. I mean, you do have the screws from the clip, which throws it off a little bit, but it is cool that they have those pass-through screws. I like that. You do have a lanyard spot back here for the 7 of you guys. Shout out to Preston. He asked me to make sure I cover that more. Let's talk about cutting. So I did cut some stuff with this. I carried it for like a week, and I used it when I could. Opened a couple boxes, you know, cut a little bit of cardboard. Nothing really crazy came up. And it did the job just fine. I mean, it's not the thinnest knife ever, but it's not super thick. It's serviceable, and yeah, I think it's solid. It's just, for me, I like a lower tip so I can get to it when needed, slide under tape, and you know, it's just easier for me that way. And I think aesthetically, I just like a lower tip. But it does work very well regardless. You know, it's just going to be for certain things. I don't know how it would function tactically, if that was kind of the idea or is the idea, because if you hold it in this reverse grip, you get a really good spot with your thumb to land, like right here, you know. And I think Friday night at the gas station, you'd be in a pretty good position with this, and you'd have a lot of blade to work with. Now, I don't know how sturdy that back button lock is. That's something to question. But and then if you wrap it like this, you don't have to rest your thumb up here, because it's such a big knife. I can just wrap my whole hand around like this, and that's even pretty comfortable. I would never do any of these things, but hey, you know, I like to joke around about Friday night gas stations. You can see my hands are really sweaty today. Sorry, it's been hot as hell here, and I have the window open. But yeah, you know, you can do reverse grips or draw cut. You can do all the stuff, and it feels pretty good in the hand. The choked up grip is probably my favorite. And ergonomically with the button, it's solid. I mean, it's in a good spot. The front flipper and the flipper tab are in good locations. I will say the button seems a little high, but I think that's just because of the size of the knife compared to most knives or button locks, if that makes sense. Yeah, carry. So it carries well. I mean, the size of this thing for the weight is pretty extraordinary. I think they listed it like 5 ounces or something, but I mean, I swear it's like 4. I mean, it weighs nothing. It's really impressive. It's milled out to the gills. Like if you look in here, you can see that is all milled out on the carbon fiber side and all milled out on the titanium side. It really is impressive to me that they got that much milled out. So the weight is really good on it. Okay. It does stick out of your pocket quite a bit. So you're going to have this much sticking out of your pants, which is a little obnoxious. Now on such a big knife, it doesn't bother me because I don't worry about it, like, you know, messing up the balance in pocket. But it is awkward. It's, again, I've mentioned this before. It's one of the things about arcane design knives that I normally don't love. And he usually has this sort of tapered end of the handle. But in this case, with the Praytheon, he mounted the clip at the rear, so it doesn't really bother me. On most of his knives, it's a milled clip mounted somewhere around here, and you have that sort of end corner sticking out, which is not my favorite. There's a little comparison. So the Praytheon's a 3 1/4 inch knife. I mean, it's not tiny, but it looks absolutely dwarfed here. All right, let's talk about the action / fidget factor. And this is where I think the knife shines quite a bit. It has the button lock, so you can obviously swing it out with the button lock if you like. Not my method of play, but it does work, and it's fun. With a little wrist. Then you have a flipper tab back here. I really wish they had jimped this flipper tab, because I would get such a better pull on it if it was jimped. As is, I gotta kind of make sure I got it and then rip it, right? Because occasionally I'll just slip like right over it because there's nothing grabbing you, right? Let's zoom in on that. You can see here, it's not jimped at all. And so when I grab it, I can slip off. Is it something that happens a lot? I mean, it's pretty frequent for being a flipper like this that I do slip off. Yes, it happens. If I'm not paying attention, I'm just like gonna flick it. There's been a lot of times where I've missed it because it doesn't grab my finger hard enough. Is it the biggest deal ever? No, I think aesthetically it's still fine. I think when you get it, you get it. And I think it has a lot to do with my, you know, sweaty fingers because I slide over it. So I don't think it's a big deal. I think most people would be fine with it. The front flipper right here does jump up to the top, which is very nice to see. Would have been cool to kind of see one more up top, but I don't think it's quite necessary. You can get good leverage on it and give it a good pop. You don't even need to hold onto the clip, but you can, and then you flip around. Some people are going to complain about the flipper tab being in the way. They're going to complain that it comes down and gets them. I don't think it's a big deal. I may have even said that in my unboxing, but I quickly got, see how I missed it? I quickly got used to it and have had no problem with the front flipper. The detent on it is a very interesting case. It's kind of baffled me quite a bit. Sometimes it feels like right now, you see I can't, it took quite a bit to get it out, and you heard that nice click, right? But then other times it'll feel a little bit softer. So I don't know, it's weird. Like right now, feels really strong and snappy. And then sometimes it'll just, that was fine. Great. Yeah, see right now it's like really good. But then I swear yesterday or earlier today I was playing with it and it would fail like real easy. So I don't know if there's something going on internally, like right there, you see that? And then it's fine. I don't know, it's sort of goofy. I think it's a button lock thing. Like the spring is not seating or expanding all the way sometimes. There we go. See, it was very light there. But then it gets into the right position and then it feels stronger again. Weak. Strong. I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's like me breaking the detent and I could just flick it, you know? I don't know. I think overall the detent's really good. I've enjoyed it. I've had a lot of fun flipping this thing. I'll tell you that much. I have done this so many times and enjoyed it. See there? Missed it. So I really enjoy the way the detent's set up. I'm just saying, sometimes it feels a little bit different than other times. And I do think that's a button lock thing in general. But you have the front flipper to play with. You have the back flipper to play with. If you want to get, you know, crazy, you got the button to flick with, and it's really fun. Then you have the absolutely solid lockup. I mean, this button lock is phenomenal. They did a great job on it. Dead nut centered down the middle. Hasn't walked once. Like, I've never touched this pivot. I mean, we can check real quick and see if it's loosened at all. Oh, yeah. Wait. Oh, it's double-sided. Okay, and it seems to be Loctited. So, I mean, there might be the slightest bit of side-to-side if you really wrench on it, but I think most people would go like this and go, yep, that's perfect. And there is no up and down. And again, it is dead nuts down the center, so really happy with the fit and finish, the quality on it. Yeah, I think overall, no tappies on the clip, no movement anywhere. Let me just check all these screws. I feel like I heard something there. Yeah, it's not tapping. Is it? I might have made an adjustment on the clip when I flipped it around. Sometimes, like that fat carbon, I think sticks up a little more if you look at it. If you look at the fat carbon, let me show you what I'm talking about. The fat carbon, I think, sticks up a little more than this titanium side, so it may have kind of bent the clip up a little bit to make it a little bit more tappy. So let me just doing very light pressure there. If you guys ever have a milled clip like that, titanium clip, and you have a tapper, it is very easy to adjust. There's two ways to do it. You can do what I just did, which I always try first because it's obviously less invasive. And then the second option is you can literally just unscrew these, take out the clip, flip it around and mount it so it's sticking off the back here, and then you have leverage. Make sure you tighten them down, and then you have leverage to bend it if you need to. But those are two ways to fix a tapper or adjust it if it's too tight, too weak. Yeah, that's fine. I think it's just the internals moving around in there. I don't know what that is. Hold on, let's see if when it's open it does it. Yeah, it does. What do you think that is? I really don't think it's the clip, because it's got good tension down. Well, let's test something. Good hardware, by the way. Whoa. Okay, now. Yeah, you hear it? It's still there. So it's not the clip. I think it's just the spring. You know, it would be kind of cool if you left the clip off of this. It's actually pretty sleek without it. You could maybe get like a Kydex holster for it. I can see Bearded Doom doing that. Too bad they didn't do a Purple Haze one. But yeah, I guess that's the button mechanism. It's just, you hear it down here, you know. I will admit that I did not even notice that till right now when I was just tapping around trying to, you know, find things. So I wouldn't even call that a issue. You know, that's just the nature of a button lock, I'd say. It looks like we have steel hardware, which is fine because it's all coated. There's really no point. Honestly, it's probably better. Okay. So there we go. We're back together. Oops, that was me. So yeah, you can push button it. Sort of. I guess it's like a push switch, right? And then you could do a full light switch, if that makes sense. And then you can do the front flip. I haven't tried to reach around. I don't think I could, yeah, get it to pop up. But it does have, for a button lock, it's got a good detent. I mean, I couldn't really ask for more on it. And I think it would hurt my finger if it did have more, because it doesn't have the jimping. And you usually just grab this top corner and then rip it. And it's not pokey. It's rounded nicely. So, yeah, overall, the Quayback button lock is very cool, unique design, and I think it's dope. So you guys let me know what you think down below. You know, you guys can spare me on the Hoback, you know, hate if you have any. I get it. And, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say, you know, he's a saint and he did nothing wrong. My point is, it's behind everybody at this point. Let's just move forward. If you have a problem with the price, that's cool, you know. This is made in China, and it's $480. Those are the facts. And it's a really cool knife. That's a fact as well, in my opinion. That made no sense, but you know what I mean. I'm going to pass this around to some other guys because Hoback was kind enough to send it my way. So I always like to reward that. Big shout out to them for sending this sample for me to review. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I love you all. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. Oh, and I didn't show you the patch. It comes with a cool patch. I love their patches, guys. That's the one that comes with it. And then this one came with the PS2X. And then this one down here, the little Ninja, came with my Quaichetti. I absolutely love what they're doing with those patches. Just super cool. So this is how the package unboxed. It was really, really nice. And it comes in a really nice wood box too, guys, with a slider on it. You know, think Grimsmo Saga or whatever. It's not cheap packaging. And I know some people don't appreciate that and it doesn't matter to them. That's fine. But they do present you with a very cool unboxing experience. And I really appreciate that as somebody who literally unboxes stuff as a job, essentially. So, yeah. All right. Love you guys. Hope you have a fantastic day. And I will catch you later.